And that's why when we sit in meditation, if we accept, we not fight back when we cross our leg or when we block the way. The feedback, the signal send it backward. Okay, it may build up and then we feel sensation of pain or uneasy. So, but if we relax the Z force, okay, to minimize, and also the endorphin be released out when our central nervous system be relaxed. Whenever our muscle relax, the endorphin will be released, and that will help to treat the pain. Right? So that's why they use that for treat for the terminal illness, for cancer patient and the multiple sclerosis. And after that, that is the first chemical is secret, and after that it will secrete the serotonin and the norepinephrine. So again, to rebalance our mental status and our central nervous system. So if we chew carefully, slowly, it will, that is the process for healing our body. Especially when it corrects the regulation of all the hormone production process, because that is the mainstream to regulate all the activity in our body. It also, when we chew carefully, slowly, it will help to maintain a stable of our brainwave signal. And it, remember, our brain, it acts like the projector to send out a signal. It also acts as the receiver, both ways. The more signal is sending out, the more signal it receives. So if we can stabilize that, it will become like a mirror. First, we can regulate, we can control the in and out signal. Secondly, it can be like a mirror. So when it becomes a mirror, it can reflect the signal, it can reflect the object in front of that much clearer, much farther, right? So that's why we can see in advance, we can hear in advance, and we can solve the problem very easily. That's what we call people. That's why when we meditate, when we're in a calm state, we solve the problem easier than other people, because the understanding, the wisdom is coming out. Especially, this is a very important, the pineal gland. We were talking about this one in the meditation process, and this is the stargate to get contact with the other, what we call the extraterrestrial worlds, to the higher state of ourselves. And not only after that, during this lifetime, we already have this experience a lot during the dreaming state, during the relaxation state, during the sleeping state, or during the what we call the out body or near death experience. So all that starts from here. So that's why in Asian culture, especially for the Vietnamese culture, you know, we put the eating in front of every main activity. You see, in the Western, right, when we meet, when we see each other, we say, how are you? Right? So that means we're asking about the result, the effect. But for the Asian, we're asking for the cause. If we don't provide the energy If you don't input the correct energy, you will have the wrong result, cause and effect. So we say, I'm nói, that means we need to eat before we can say anything. No energy, we cannot talk. I'm làm, that means we need to eat to provide energy before we can work. Ăn học, that means we eat before we can study. Right? It has to be input the energy first before we can do anything. And again, cause and effect. If we input the correct energy, we will have the correct consequence of that. If we input the wrong energy, the consequence will be wrong. So we rather start from the cause. Don't wait until the effect. It's too late. And I think tomorrow we were talking about the process for building up the tumor, the cancer, and how can we recognize that? How can we transform that? By the eating way, by Qigong, and especially by meditation. Alright, so that we're talking about the eating, right? And correct technique for chewing. So slowly, as much as possible, right? So let the food in contact to our tongue, our mouth, and chew slowly. Secondly, you see, before we eat, we usually have a moment of peaceful and do the contemplation offering. Why we need to do that? If you have a friend, you treat him or her nicely, respectfully, they may coming back. You have a good relationship for long term. But if you treat them unrespectfully, right? You not take good care of that, sooner or later they will let you, right? That is a mutual relationship. But if we talk on the energy level, remember the law of attraction. It comes in play for every single phenomenon. That means you send out a good signal, you will receive back a good signal. Because if you attract each other, you send out a bad signal, you will get back a bad signal. So the same thing in here. Remember, we have no capacity to take out the nutrition, the mineral in the earth. We cannot take out the air energy. We have to borrow from the plant, right? So that is the manufacturing plant to create, to combine all that into the energy for us. So we borrow the energy from them. So if we treat them respectfully, we may have an opportunity to receive all that again. But if we not respect it, sooner or later, even though we have money, we still cannot buy food. We still don't have food to eat. Because most of us living in the developed country, you have more merit than in the third world country. But remember the law of attraction, or the law of the conversational energy. When you treat it badly, sooner or later you will be drained out on your merit, right? So that's why, okay, even though we have money, we still cannot buy the food, we still cannot get the food. That happened in many countries, and you see a lot of very wealthy people, and if they not respect their property, they not respect people, so all that will be get back to the nature, to what? To nature, accident, or they may get back through any catastrophe in the nature. Only when we respect the nature, when we respect the one to give us the energy, we will get back the energy. The same thing in the emotion, that if we send out a good signal, we receive back a good signal. So that's why before eating, we usually have that. And I think most of the religion, we do that. That's not really the religion process, that is on the nature. Because if we know the nature give us that one, okay, we have to be back to exchange or to balance that. And then also, you know that every single plant or any single living being, it has the current, what we call the energy level, depend on it low or high. So from, I think about more than 70 or 80 years ago, we already know that the plant can receive your signal, right? That's why when we have a several plant in our house or in a garden, if we water that, we treat that nicely, you can talk to that, you can share to that, okay, it will blossom. It can give you different flower, different smell, different can depend on how you treat that. And you also know about this, they turn on the music with different frequency to stimulate the plant in the field. You know that, right? And now some country, they use the brain wave. That means your thought. You can send out that signal from your thought, like the same way when we treat with individual, but now we do it for the whole field. We don't need fertilizer, we don't need to have pesticide, we don't need insecticide, but the field still grown up with fully harvest. So that means the communication between us and other plants accepted. But how many of us know that and treat them nicely? So that's why we are not the one to write that, we are not the one to collect it, we are not the one to transport or to sell it, we are the one to consume it. So during all that process, other people may not know, so they may treat them not nicely. So the energy, the upset energy, the bad energy be released out in the environment and we get stuck in the food we eat. So if we not send out the peaceful energy, the signal out before we inject it, we cannot transform all that bad energy. You see, so only 1 minute we just send out the peaceful, the good energy to transform all that. And then when we take it in, okay, it will absorb and it will accept it better, so it's easier for our digestive system. So that's the process that we used to do before the eating. The other thing related to the eating, did we run out of time? Let's see. Yeah, I think we run out of time. So I think we could continue maybe in the discussion session or maybe tomorrow. Alright?